Groovy. That is the start of a fucking recording, motherfucker.
It's been so long since we've done one of these.
I was re-listening to them, and we promised at some point, we made a vow that we would do all of them, and then we just didn't do Dead Reckoning, even though each of us, I saw it 4 times in theaters. Twice with my mother, once with my brother, and I think once by myself. Did I do that? I might have done that.
I think I only actually saw it in theaters one time, and then I tried to go see it again, and it was like only showing in a theater that was like an hour away from me, and I was like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Miss
That is
President of
unreal.
Movies.
I think I think you make up for it for the fact that you are a motherfucker who saw fucking Maverick when it came back to theaters for 2 days.
Yep.
Two. I should have. That is my biggest regret. I should have called out sick that day and just gone. But no, I was like, I'm going to be a good person. I was fucking wrong.
Yeah, it was because you had like recently called out with COVID and then gone on a vacation to see your brother, and it was a bad time. But I was also like, Ark, you should do it. You should do it. You should just play hooky.
I can't believe I missed out on that. Please, Thomas Cruise, please send Maverick back to theaters. But that's not what we're here for.
No.
Tonight. Like 6 months in the making or 6 months late, depending on what you want to think of it.
So you just rewatched them. Did we record the other commentaries right before or right after Dead Reckoning came out?
No, we got them all done before because we were afraid that we were going to die, and we did not die. Thank God.
It was good though.
We lived.
Yeah.
Was very good. So, belatedly, my name is Arcturus. You can call me Archie.
My name is Punct. You can call me Punct.
We are going to be watching Dead Reckoning Part 1, aka one of the greatest movies of all time. Copy of it... Huh? Go for it.
What layer is it at? So you have been ranking every single movie you've seen so far this year. What ranking is Dead Reckoning at?
It is at 2.
Right below.
Man, it's right underneath Asteroid City, which will be the #1 movie every year that I watch it. Because that is my movie. My soul is contained within Asteroid City.
Mm-hmm.
I wish Wes Anderson did not dox me like that, but here we are. Okay. So, I'm going to hit start, and then I will say when the Paramount logo fades out. I think that's a good sync point for people who want to sync up at home.
Okay.
You ready? Are you ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm hitting play right now. We have stars rushing in. And Paramount logo fade. Okay. Here we go again. We're back in this place.
I never understand the significance between TC and Skydance. I know it's a very close relationship, but it's not technically his, right?
It is. Isn't it very strange that he doesn't technically have a production company? He just has his posse.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Speaking of fucking Lorne Balfe, thank God.
Yeah.
What were we watching that... Oh yeah, we were watching Rogue Nation, which is a movie I love, but like I missed the Balfe so much. There's something about, I think it's because he likes drums, and I also like drums. I think they're very cool.
I played the drums in elementary school.
That's cool too. Maybe you should try out for Lorne Balfe.
I don't think I could do that. I remember when I was in the theater, I was so confused by this cold open because I was like, I kept expecting like, is Ethan going to like jump into the water or like end up trying to board this submarine while it's underwater? Like, what's gonna happen? I did not know where we were going.
I found it very ballsy, specifically for McHugh, who's like very focused on... They keep talking in various commentaries about how the audience doesn't believe anything going on until Ethan says it. And yet he does this fucking long-ass, meticulous cold open and then lets you forget about it for, no joke, about 2 hours and I would guess 15 minutes. And just drops it.
Yeah. See, what that implies, which we'll have to wait for what is now no longer called Part 2 to find out, but it's possible that this cold open is not actually accurate, that this is somehow not exactly how it went.
Wow, how do you figure that?
Well, because it's not true until Ethan says it, maybe there is an element here that we're not getting. Like, I know that we've heard of theories about sort of other dimensions to the entity. It could be possible that there's something more going on here that we don't see until Ethan decodes it.
Oh, right. That's actually my theory for how this is going to shake out.
Were you the first one who came up with that?
I don't know if I, like, did so formally. Did I tell you, like, my take on how this might go?
I think so, but tell me again.
Yeah, plus, like, if people are watching this, they've already, like, watched the movie. But I think that the way that this is going to shake out, if I had my druthers in part 2, or whatever the fuck McHugh ends up calling it, when Ethan finally gets to the Sevastopol and gets to this, like, remnant of the entity, I think it would be very interesting if the entity all along, this uncorrupted piece of it, has been trying to lure Ethan there the entire time because it has observed the world and has decided that the one person who can get to it and recover it and who would destroy it is Ethan Hunt. It's the, or maybe not the one person, but the one that you can be fucking certain would destroy it. And like everything that it has like built up has been just to get Ethan there because it understands its own existence is bad, and it's like, okay, you'll do the job. Sup, buddy? Sorry for killing some of your friends, but you know, collateral damage.
It depends whether, like, I feel like what I imagine is that this is sort of like the origin, like the original version of the entity that is like trying to destroy the version that has escaped and become evil. But also, like, part of what I think is interesting is like maybe we'll talk about this more later, but the entity is this really interesting sort of like parallel for Ethan in these weird ways. And so I do sort of like the implication that, like, just like Ethan is like constantly low grade suicidal, the entity is also like, man, I deserve to die actually.
I mean, it's the point where the theme is said aloud is your life will never meet my life will never, what the fuck is his line? Shit.
Your life will always mean more to me than my own.
Yes. So, almost like that, but the entity did definitely get Ilsa killed, at least. And also,
well, maybe it's the evil entity. Maybe it's the Gabriel controlled / poisoned entity.
God, I fucking hate Gabriel so much. When we get to Gabriel, I just fucking hate him.
Yeah, you're gonna get a little bit mad at that one scene where he talks about Ethan's past. You're gonna get a little bit pissed.
Yeah. 6 fucking minutes of cold open already.
I know.
It's like, alright, McHugh. I watched Hunt for Red October as well.
It was interesting though, because I've seen the commentary for at least have we seen the commentary for the whole movie now? Do you remember?
Yes, the one with Eddie Hamilton, who is a sweetheart. Yes.
Right, yes. And it was interesting for them just saying, like, oh yeah, these guys were all just, like, there on the day and just sort of, like, got this sort of, like, cool feeling off them where, like, they were just gelling really cool. I don't know, I get that when you are in the room doing those, like, shoots, you get sort of, like, invested, and then you're like, but I don't want to get rid of it. But it's interesting that McHugh, who's usually so, like, mercenary about cutting things, was like, no, we definitely need this 6-minute cold open.
Are we allowed to say McHugh is mercenary anymore when he's created a 2-hour and 43-minute movie?
I think we are, because I firmly agree with what he said in one of the commentaries, which is that at a certain point, if you cut too much, it makes it feel longer. Because you have to keep the right pace to have people always ready for the next thing, but not like overwhelmed and all things like that. Like, I get the fact that at a certain point, if you want to cover this much movie, you have to keep some things so that everything all makes sense.
Oh yeah, because I've never felt overwhelmed while watching this movie.
You don't get overwhelmed by the plot, though.
Yes, that's true. Oh my god. Can we go into the fucking evolution of the IMF?
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh my god. McHugh is a magician. Like,
Mm-hmm.
as a hobbyist slash enthusiast slash kind of out of my mind writer, I fucking hate him for having done this.
Yeah.
This, like, because we've seen every Mission Impossible movie. We've seen how it started at basically what seems like a task force, and then going into, like, it's basically just NCIS, or it's like a branch of the CIA,
Yeah.
and then they got disavowed, and then they got then they got dissolved again, GP to Rogue Nation, and then they came back to get betrayed by the CIA slash by Walker, and now we're to a completely different era. I feel like from Ghost Protocol onward, it's just like the IMF has been like peeled off like a piece of like old paint to find something completely different underneath.
And what I love about the way McHugh writes it is that you can actually, when you go back and watch the earlier movies, you can sort of see this being an underlying narrative, right? Because even in like Fallout, there's no implication that there's anybody else that like Hunley is going to call on. Like, it's literally just, even as far back as Rogue Nation, Ethan says that line. He's like, well, this is the IMF, right? When they catch Lane at the end. And it's like, it was setting up the fact that the IMF was increasingly just the people we were seeing.
Oh, it's also said in Ghost Protocol, which is like a portion that McHugh wrote when he was writing the connective tissue to make that movie work. So it is at least slightly likely that he was the guy who wrote Ethan's little speech in the train car, where he tells everybody, like, this is all that remains of the IMF. So it is this constant drumbeat that McHugh's been hitting. And the fact that this movie is so fucking obsessed with the first movie and like closing this giant loop, like bringing back fucking Kittredge. Thank God for Kittredge. I love Kittredge so much. It just, the way he's created this trajectory is so fucking cool, honestly, that I fully believe that, like, at this point Ethan has basically, just through sheer force of having survived and being sick of everyone's shit, has peeled off the organization until, what the fuck is the thing that I call it, this like strange esoteric priesthood of radical altruism that nobody controls canonically. As of this movie, no one has control of these motherfuckers.
And it's cool because it's like an optical illusion, because in the previous movies, where we were still operating off the basic assumption that it was just sort of like a small team working as part of a bigger team, as part of the CIA sort of like offshoot. Now looking back, you can see, oh, that hasn't been the case for a long time, and has actually just been getting more and more and more off the rails, to this point where, like, oh yeah, they leave word somewhere, and Ethan like basically decides whether he wants to take that mission.
Yeah, and I think the last time that we truly see like the quote unquote IMF is MI3, which was the worst iteration of the IMF in my opinion. It fucking sucks. But by the time that Ghost Protocol happens and the whole thing is disavowed, after that it feels very decentralized. That it's just these various little caches and hubs around the entire world that if you know, you know, and that's where all these people live, which I fucking love. And like, to nod at the fucking the fact that, like, in this movie especially, the IMF, like, when we slow down and actually talk to the members of the IMF, it's always in these these old buildings, this like remaining architecture. It feels very much like a remnant of an old idea that is fighting against like this new fancy idea. Like compare like the places where Ethan and the crew hide in these dark buildings to like where they meet with the widow, and it's like all digital and like fiber optic and modern. It's like there's a very sharp contrast. I love movies.
And I know we had just talked over that scene, but I do love that like little nod of like, yeah, he's welcoming in someone who made the choice, and he's comforting him, and he's also saying like, hey, we watch out for each other here. And it's very cool that it's like it simultaneously gives the perspective that there are a few of them, but also that they stick together.
Yeah, it's like this guy who's just like dropping off a message stumbled into like an initiation with the eldest member of this weird order of, crazy altruists.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Ilsa looks so fucking good in this sequence. Why does she look so good in deserts?
But you said that you remember seeing when the trailer came out a whole bunch of people like theorizing about why she was wearing the eye patch, and literally it was just because Rebecca Ferguson can't wink.
So, because like I thought, and we were discussing it, the idea that like, oh, maybe she has a camera in her eye, and maybe she's covering the eye until it's the perfect time for her to show whatever is connected. No, Rebecca Ferguson cannot close one eye.
That's so valid. I can only close one eye, and it's the one that actually. So I would be the Rebecca Ferguson in that situation because I can close my right eye by itself, but I can't close just my left eye.
Oh, I love that moment. I love her. In case you're not a gun nerd, like my Metal Gear loving ass, you are supposed to slowly breathe out as you pull the trigger.
Why?
If you're inhaling and you pull the trigger and there's a recoil, you will, like, the breath will stutter. But if you're exhaling, you'll kind of continue exhaling. You in theory, you should pull the trigger exactly as you've like fully depleted your lungs of the breath. And then you inhale as you're doing that. That is a bolt action.
And then the joke that you always make at this point in the movie, which I love, is like, oh yeah, I've played this, what is it, Battlegrounds map?
Counter-Strike, you fucking rube. It's Counter-Strike.
Okay. Well, you should have said the joke yourself then.
I can't believe you're a gamer and you can't name fucking Counter-Strike.
I am not a shoot-'em-up gamer.
But you are a gamer now.
I am a gamer now, yeah, unfortunately.
We should get you to play some Counter-Strike, clearly.
No. No, I don't think I will do that.
Let's go and play some fucking Dust Bowl.
I have to be able to play something where the only skill is that I have a brain and not that I have a body. If I have to have any kind of reflexes, then I'm fucked.
You and I should discuss Super Hot when we're done watching this.
Okay.
Oh, I love when he finally switches to. I hate Ethan with rifles. I really do. Yeah. It's unnatural. Oh my god, she's dead. Oh my god, all those images of the team in Venice were fake.
I do think it's interesting how McHugh talked about, like, the fact that this reveal, like, in the editing process moved all the fuck over the movie. Like, originally they had it right before they pick him up in Rome. And then they moved it to this scene. And then at one point I think they tried it right after, where it was immediately revealed that she wasn't dead.
And then remember. They like had a long pull where you only find out she's alive when they finally get to Rome. And it's like, fuck that.
Yeah.
I spent my entire fucking life calling this man Carrie Yules.
How do you say it?
It's Carrie Elways.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah. It's fucked up, isn't it? It's like the Berenstein Bears fucking situation. Like there's a fucking alternate universe where his name is Carrie Yules, and we've all like just fallen into the wrong one.
definitely it.
That man's name is Elways. I can't deal with that.
I love this actor, and I love that this actor is doing such a good job of being, like, menacing, but also sort of bland, but also sort of, like, this
like, the camera is focusing, so we know something is up, but we have no idea what.
Yeah.
And I did not catch this in the theater. I was like, oh shit, this is, like, the best mask reveal ever, but,
Yeah, this is incredible.
Can we talk about...
Yeah, go for it.
Can we talk about the fucking awesomeness of literally rows and rows and rows of people on typewriters trying to save information from being digitally altered by this fucking AI monster? This is such a fucking cool-ass idea, McHugh. Holy shit.
Yeah. I feel like they should have honestly leaned even a little bit more into the analog stuff. Like, I was a little bit sort of annoyed sometimes they still had, like, they had very sort of, like, hand-wavy explanations for why they still had comms and things like that. But, like, no, they should have gone, like, full walkie-talkies. I don't even care. Like, I think they should have gone as annoyingly analog as possible and see how fun and cool that is.
Oh, I want Benji having to climb to the top of a radio tower because he figured out that it's a shotgun tower, so he can actually communicate with the team if he hijacks it. I want that kind of granular shit.
Yeah.
No, it's not shotgun. It's blowtorch tower, I think. It's one or the other. Whatever.
I trust you.
Okay. McHugh is very good at picking out dudes with good faces.
Also, I have never actually been able to see this, but I know apparently other people have been able to pick up that there's a picture of the president who is ex-head of the CIA from Fallout.
Oh my god, I fucking blanked on it. Erica Sloan.
Thank you. So apparently she's the president now, which I know is definitely not going to go terribly wrong in the next movie.
And see, I saw her picture and I did not realize that meant she was the president, but hey, cool. Good for her. Also, Kittredge is here. Kittredge is fucking incredible.
Yeah.
I love his face. I love that he still has that fuck you energy that just, like, he wears like cologne. It's so good. He has such electricity to him at all times, and I adore it.
So, who is he? He's introduced as the head of the CIA now? Is that what his role is?
So he took over for Hundley. No, Hundley moved to IMF,
So he took over for Erica.
Yes.
Interesting. I think that's cool.
Jobber. Just still a working jobber.
Yeah. And I think it's very interesting that, yeah, now he's basically, like, the keeper of this knowledge about these, like, sort of weird, priests that you can, like, leave word to, and that even, like, the head of national security is like, that's not a thing. What are you talking about?
I love, like, when it's brought up, everybody in the room is a little embarrassed. It's like, do you think just one day they woke up and realized they don't have any way to contact any of the IMF agents? They're like, oh, fuck. Okay. How do we deal with this?
So I'm wondering if the other people even really believe it's a thing, or if they think it's basically just Kittredge being a little wacky. Actually, that would be really funny if everybody thought that Ethan was just, like, Kittredge's kept boy that he gave stuff to, and that was how that worked. But actually,
Kittredge would be like, no, I wish he was fucking kept. Bitch, please.
Exactly. Actually, he's very, very unkept.
Here we go. Here's the explanation. Thank you. Thank you, McHugh. I love this.
I love how that line comes from someone who's from Top Gun Maverick, who would say that exact same line in Top Gun Maverick. Like, Maverick's not really one to take orders.
Well, when you say it like that, it sounds stupid. I mean, really, shout out to McHugh for finally doing the joke that every single one of us has written in fucking fic, the IMF joke. Thank you, McHugh, for joining us. This moment fucks so hard.
This moment is so good, and actually, you said this was the perfect mask reveal, and there are actually 2 perfect mask reveals back to back, and I just love them so fucking much.
They're both, like, truly the best ones in the entire series. They're both in this. Because they're both within a 5-minute span.
Yeah, the whole time you're thinking, oh shit, he's going to capture Kittredge. This is obviously, like, some agent of the entity, like, he's already involved. And then
he just, everybody in the theater just gasped. Yeah. It was so fucking good.
And the way he very carefully takes it out of his mouth is very cool. I don't know. I love like
him in this moment. Just, like, he's reserved, but also he's unhappy.
Do you think he is actually upset in this moment? I'm curious about what your take on this is. Is he lying right now, or is he just misdirecting?
I think he's sincere because, like, remember all the way back in MI1 when Kittredge does the thing where he frames Ethan's parents, and then Ethan gets Kittredge on the phone to talk to him while he's, like, perfectly watching the time to know how long to talk. And there's this air to that conversation of, I know you're better than this, you need to get on my fucking level or get out of my way, that Ethan has towards Kittredge. This is the same feeling, but 20 years later, where you're still not playing on my fucking level, and I'm not mad, I'm disappointed.
That's actually a fascinating read, because of course my mind had naturally jumped to that other MI1 scene that they are clearly referencing here in the restaurant, where Ethan says, I'm not upset, right? But the idea is, or you haven't seen me upset, but the idea that it's actually paralleling a different scene in MI1 is very fun. I love that.
Yeah, to me it's just like the time. One of the interesting things about Kittredge's return to this is that he's very much the same man in a way that Ethan isn't.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the movie kind of goes out of its way over and over to show all the ways that Ethan has changed as a person, and it's like Kittredge is being used to create a parallel, or like a thing to pose so that you can see how much he's changed. The fact that Kittredge has not really dramatically changed over time is probably a kind of annoying. But it also makes him nice and predictable, so.
It is sort of interesting to think about, like, Kittredge has basically been working. Well, I guess the implication that he's moved around the agency in various ways, but I do like the implication that basically he's been in the same sort of, like, resigned, like, man, fucking Ethan Hunt, just gotta deal with him ever since 1996. And he's just been like, I can't do anything about it. You just have to accept it. Ever since Ethan outsmarted him the first time.
It's fun because there's been different heads of the IMF over that time. So Kittredge has probably been aware that things have been getting weird over in that.
And he's like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
You feel like he probably just, like, hears randomly about what the IMF is doing. He's like, oh, that sounds bad, but hey, it's not my job. And now he's head of the CIA.
Yeah, that sounds right. That sounds accurate.
I guarantee you that Kittredge has worked very, very hard to make sure his job is not dealing with Ethan Hunt. Like, he'll take anything except that.
I've just decided that, you know that line that you hate in Fallout where Hunley is like, some say a lateral move, and, like, going to the IMF from the CIA was a lateral move. Mm-hmm. I now headcanon that it was Kittredge who said, it's sort of a lateral move, because he's like, you're gonna have to deal with Ethan a lot more.
Oh my god, he probably was just like, it's me or Hundley. I'm gonna definitely let Hundley take this one. Oh, I love the fucking
literally
phone
jump
call.
on that, yeah.
Like, look at how calm he is. You're not a king on the board, you're a pawn.
Okay, so here's the thing that I think is interesting about this scene from the perspective of what I was saying earlier about them being sort of parallels, is that the entire scene is setting up the idea that, like, the entity is this, like, all-knowing, all-seeing, like, superpower that has basically limitless capabilities. And then you have Ethan come in here and immediately demonstrate that he somehow knows everything about what's going on, and he can predict this moment with Kittredge down to the second, basically. And it's just like, it's sort of working with that other quote from Hundley about it back in Rogue Nation. It's so funny about, like, I don't even remember it because it's so ridiculous. But it's like,
he's a living manifestation of destiny. Fucking best mask use ever. Fucking
so
best.
Good.
I like that he puts a little bit of bitchiness into it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mark Cerny, you did such good work. Drums!
It is interesting. I wonder if our friend Lauren was just like, yeah, drums were so good in Fallout, we just need more drums all the time now.
He was right. The Fallout OST fucking owns.
Yeah.
I love opening credit sequences. They should pass a law that says all movies need to have an opening credit sequence.
Although, to be fair, there are ways to do it badly. I feel like the ones that are just, like, sort of very boring, I would not enjoy nearly as much as I always enjoy the Mission Impossible opening scenes.
I love all of Lauren's remixes.
Also, apparently we have that opening sequence to thank for the entity being blue, because originally the entity was red, and actually they realized that in that opening sequence, because the rest of the movie was toned sort of this orange color, it made more sense to set it opposite the entity as a blue color, which I think is very interesting.
Yeah.
Also, if it had been red, I would not have been able to not think about Hal. Hal the Homestuck character, not Hal the original, like, Odyssey character.
I'm ignoring you. Fucking Shea, Whigham. I love him. Also, from the commentary, one of the things that you learn from the commentary with Eddie Hamilton and McHugh is that probably a good third of everything Shea Whigham does is just him feeling out that character and coming up with shit. And the dude's a fucking genius.
Mm-hmm.
I love you, Benji.
I do love the sort of theatricalness of specifically Benji, but basically all of them in this scene. Like, I love that they're basically just sort of, like, goofing with each other a little bit. Like, yes, they're sort of talking about what's important, but also they're like, yeah, we're used to this, guys.
Yeah. We like the fifth use of what's the play, because that is, like, the fucking talisman of this goddamn team. That and the you figure it out as you go kind of idea.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, so this was something that I was confused about last time I watched this movie. So that lighter is not a tracker of any kind.
It's a Geiger counter. It works with the glasses.
Okay, but so I think, but didn't Ethan just say that it tracks the signature, that it is a tracker for the signature in the key, or that it interacts with it?
The key will set off a Geiger counter because the dragon's egg.
Right.
Which is the gemstone.
It's just interesting because obviously at the end of the movie, spoilers if somehow you're watching this having not seen the movie, but that Ethan basically gives up this lighter as sort of like the trade-off for getting the key. He gives the lighter to Gabriel. And I always thought it was sort of like a ha-ha, now you have a tracker on you thing, but it's not. It's just like now actually he has a way to potentially help him track down Ethan again.
Oh, I didn't read it as that. I read it as usually when you pick up something that has heft to it, you want to drop something of similar heft at the same time, so that the person does not notice the differential in the weight.
It's just interesting.
So I just thought it was that.
It could potentially work in both ways. That it could potentially also work in part 2 or not part 2 as a way to have Gabriel come back and interact with the key again.
I fucking love them. I love this fucking suitcase full of fucking Berettas or whatever.
Yeah.
The one thing I'm so fucking psyched for the next one is Shea Whigham talking about how he got McHugh and asked him to write him a usual suspect style scene. And I'm so fucking excited for that scene.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Also, thank you for McHugh for understanding the difference between Benji and Luther and saying it outright. I love you.
Yeah.
Because, that sums it up.
And it's like, yes, they're both technically tech guys, but it isn't really an overlap, or at least it's not an unnecessary overlap, because...
Yeah.
Like, there's so much tech that goes on in missions that you need 2 people to cover it.
Yeah. And the kind of task that you would send one for is completely different than the task you'd send the other for. Yeah.
I love Luther so much.
I like how Ving Rhames wants him to be cooler. I'm sorry, but Luther's best friend has been Ethan Hunt for 20 years. He's not that cool.
He's definitely cooler than Ethan, though, so he's got that going for him.
Yes. How much money would you have to pay Tom Cruise to not wear aviators? Also not Ray-Bans. He's not allowed to wear Ray-Bans either. He has to wear normal-ass sunglasses. Can you pay him enough?
I think you could get him to do it if it was a character point. Like, if he was specifically playing someone who is really unstylish, then I think he would probably be like, okay, then it makes sense for the character, as much as I hate it, for him not to wear my signature very cool sunglasses.
Okay, but at the same time, he had Bill Cage riding a motorcycle, which Bill Cage cannot fucking ride a motorcycle. That is a no-sell. That punk-ass bitch cannot ride.
Okay, but think about it from TC's perspective. Him getting to film himself riding a motorcycle is way more fun than doing the same scenes just with different kinds of glasses.
I love that moment. Sorry, I love this moment when Luther starts splitting how he's handling the agents and becomes the mission control. Oh, it's so fucking good. Sorry, I got immediately distracted by how awesome Luther is.
It's great. And I love that it... So, okay, there's this pet peeve of mine, which is like, when someone makes a call that makes a lot of sense in the moment, and then the narrative goes against itself to prove that it was the wrong call later for some way that they should have known. I don't like that usually, but I think it works here because specifically the entity is working on the assumption that this is how they're going to work. And so it knows that they have progressed as a team to the point that Luther is not going to try and stress out Ethan more by laying this on him. Like, it is essential to the way the entity works that it would lead to these sorts of conflicts.
Yeah, because it's interested in leaning into people's nature, not like pressing them to change their nature.
Uh-huh.
I love every time he calls her bluff.
Except she does actually do that almost exact same move when they're escaping the
And it's great.
Yeah, it's great.
And it pisses him off so much. Wow, that one's cool.
That was the one that he was particularly mad at, I think.
I thought it was the one where the first one when he was flipping it.
Maybe.
Into his hand. I know, yeah, everybody knows the story that, like, TC got real annoyed because McHugh would just stand behind the camera and say, I saw that, saw that, saw that. And he had to keep fucking doing the trick.
Yeah.
Could have asked McHugh to change the moment. Could have asked for somebody to step in and, but no.
He would never say no to McHugh.
And TC can never, like, not be the guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's the guy.
Yeah. Also, I remember before this came out, Haley Atwell had talked about the fact that basically during the pandemic, she and TC and McHugh had basically had, like, a virtual, like, movie watching club where they, like, made her watch,
really?
like, really old movies that, like, inspired something about this character. And I think she said one of them was, like, To Catch a Thief. But I don't know enough about those movies to get it, and it honestly makes me sad. I'm like, I wish that I was as much of a movie lover as TC and McHugh was, just so I could be on their level.
We can start working on that. I would also do Bringing Up Baby, but that's just...
That I've heard good things about that too.
Can we talk about how fucking adorable Tarzan is in this?
Yeah. Yeah.
His entire vibe is so fucking cute.
Yeah. I love their sort of, like, odd couple, like, feeling where it's not like the traditional, like, one's off the rails and one's really, like, by the book, because, like, neither of them are super by the book, but they're both, like, trying to sort of, like, I don't know, I just love the dynamic because it's very sort of, like, off the rails in a way that, like, you can tell no one has control over what's happening.
but Tarzan is trying.
Yes. He's trying, but also, like, he's not actually in control.
Yeah. How do we feel about the blue suit? I keep looking at it and thinking about it.
I like it because I like blue, but I'll admit that's not a, like, thoughtful character choice.
So it's not better than the maroon purple one in Rogue Nation, right? That's still number one?
No, the maroon shirt in Rogue Nation is still the fucking best.
He's never looked better.
The thing about the blue suit to me is that it almost reads more as something TC would wear than something that Ethan would wear. Is that a weird thing to say?
Okay, but are you just saying that because it's not black? And as we have exhaustively teased him for, Ethan wears black fucking constantly.
That might be it. It also might be that TC literally wore a blue suit to at least one of the premieres for Dead Reckoning. That might also have something to do with it.
Yeah. I gotta pay attention to his fashion in this one. Like, how much does Ethan revert to his normal black? Okay, let's just, like, tackle the elephant in the room. How do you feel about the fact that we lost the cool Benji moment that was that tested bad with audiences?
At first, I was really pissed off about it. At first, I was like, what the fuck? These people clearly have, like, internalized issues around not understanding, like, the fact that, like, men can have, like, mental health issues and like they didn't understand. Like, I was pissed. But after hearing McHugh talk about it, I sort of get it, because it's like, it is an important topic and it would have been super juicy, but it doesn't fit at this point in the movie.
This point in the movie.
Yes. It would have felt really strange and like they were foreshadowing something if it was happening this early and then not getting paid off. Like, it would have felt like this is going to be a big thing, but it's not. It's supposed to be a reference to something that already was a big thing. You know what I mean? Like, it would have been really weird to have it here, but I wish they could have had it somewhere. Like, I don't know how they could have done it, but I want that to come up, and maybe it will in the next one. I hope so. But I want that to come up, that, like, Benji is really, like, dealing with PTSD, but I understand why McHugh was like, I get that it can't go here.
Yeah. What was, like, for the people who didn't read every fucking article, it was something like the original take of this scene was actually much harsher, and I think one of the questions on the entity was posing to him was, have you ever thought about hurting yourself or others? And he has to admit that, yes, he does.
Yes, it's actually the replacement of the one that I just talked over, the, like, are you afraid of death? The original version of that was, have you ever thought of hurting yourself or others, which is like a classical question off like a mental health screener that you take when you go into like a doctor's office.
Yeah, and if you're in America and you happen to have like depression on your medical history, your doctor might be like required to ask you that every couple sessions, which is my issue. Even though I haven't had depression, I've had mine under control for, at this point, probably almost 7 years, and they will still ask you. So it's very, very, like, especially for American medical stuff, it's a very common question that they have. It's a screening question, basically.
Mm-hmm. I do love this. I love Simon Pegg's voice break there. It's up there with John Hamm's in Top Gun Maverick, the voice break
my God,
on
yeah.
My Friends. But also, I think...
I love what the music does right there.
Yeah,
it's
the
so
music is
sexy.
so good. I think that it is a shame that they had to cut... It had to intersplice these riddles in a different way than they originally planned, so as to make the sequence work, like, editorially. Because I think it would have been really cool if it had, like, been a really logical build of, like, tension specifically with Benji and the questions.
Yeah. Kind of like the way that technically there is a cut of Rogue Nation that has the entire Taurus sequence all in one uninterrupted session, but for tempo reasons they had to intercut it with other stuff.
Right.
But boy, do I want that original cut sometime. Oh god, this moment's so fucking funny.
We so rarely get to see Ethan angry, and it's funny that of all the moments in this movie where he could be angry, this is it, you know?
And it's used as kind of a cute gag. It's a cute, like, this is, like, TC and McHugh are always very, they say over and over that they need people to be able to start with any movie. And the way that this entire sequence in the airport tells you everything you need to know about these three characters. And it's so fucking good. It's funny, it's tense. You see how each of them fit in together and where their strengths are. The way that they specifically drive Ethan up the fucking wall.
I do like that it's sort of an opposite, though, because we're gonna definitely talk later about how Simon Pegg has talked about the fact that, like, Benji is the one who gets to yell at Ethan. It's interesting that in this moment, Ethan is finally yelling at Benji, but, like,
'cause this is the dad
finally
movie.
After all the other movies.
Yeah, this is the movie that Ethan goes from being hot MILF to the dad of the group. This is the one where it finally happens. It took so long. But he's made it, guys. He's finally the team dad instead of, the team mom.
Yeah.
And I truly mean that.
God, the music's so good.
McHugh, please, God, I need to know what the fuck is the history between these characters. I need it so bad. Why Why is he so fucking weird about Ethan? I love these shots.
Yeah, and they had this whole airport to themselves basically before it even opened. That's the story, right? So everybody you see in all of these shots are extras.
Get those people fucking paid.
Yeah.
I love that little bit of acknowledgement. You got me, but I'm coming for you.
Yeah.
Look at that little that was so cute. That fucking little sidestep that he did so he didn't knock somebody over.
Yeah.
Oh, I need to do yet another watch just watching Tarzan.
Yeah, he's so good.
Yeah. I think the last one I spent watching Shea Wiggins is the next one I have to do watching Tarzan and all his little physicality moments.
Mm-hmm. So this is something that I actually haven't asked you before, but what do you think about the potential that Haley Atwell is going to take over as like the lead of the Mission Impossible movies after the next one?
Literally fucking incredible shot.
Incredible
10 out of 10.
Fucking shot.
Yeah. I don't know. I not to, blow smoke up his ass, but I can't imagine these without TC.
Mm-hmm.
I really, really, really can't. I would want a fresh new IP after this one is put to bed.
Mm-hmm. But we have heard from TC that he's like, well, we always could do another one. Like, we're not really like 100% gonna lock it down.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see what he does next, though.
That's true, yeah. They haven't finished filming even. Yeah.
No, I thought they didn't. Oh, right. They haven't quite wrapped, but they're getting there.
Yeah, because of the delay because of the writers and actors strike.
Yeah. Which also stole the fucking TC commentary from us.
Yeah.
Unreal. I love that they actually got all these fucking CRTs.
I do though, in the same way, I do think it's a little bit cheap. I think they should have basically had like printed out like butcher paper on the wall pretty much. Like again, in that, like, it should have been even more, because like there has to be pretty intense technology to even make like a single image project across many CRTs. Like, that would take a lot of technology to do. And so they're sort of fudging it a bit.
But I like it because I imagine that, like, the CIA just broke into the houses of every single speedrunner in America and stole their fucking TVs.
That part is good, yeah.
Like, where else are you gonna get all these fucking things?
Okay, that's true. I think actually what I want is I want them all crammed around a single tiny CRTV, and just each person at each desk has their own little tiny CRTV, and it's like their entire monitor. That's what I want. I don't want the big, like, cascading group monitor, because that's what breaks my suspension of disbelief.
Mm-hmm. I love that word.
Sabbatical?
Yeah, it's just like one of those words I like.
That's a good word.
She's smart. She keeps her fucking mouth shut.
Mm-hmm.
As an investigator, I'm telling you. Say as little as fucking possible. Oh yeah, you're a lawyer.
See, okay, that's interesting. Shea Whigham was not driving that car. Shea Whigham and Tarzan were in the back of that car. That's interesting to me. Considering we're contrasting with TC, who is literally always fucking driving, except for notably when Grace is driving very soon.
This motherfucker.
Yeah. I do like his sort of, like, weird, like, I don't even know what, but it's like safari gear, like professor cosplay that Gabriel is in this scene, that he's very much like, oh yeah, I'm so prim and proper and cool, and I'm definitely not going to murder this guy.
Like, if you think about the outfit that he has at the airport, everything he wears feels like a costume. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I see him, it's like this is a chosen disguise. I don't know what he is naturally. I don't know what his resting state is.
I don't remember what he's wearing in the pivotal scene with the White Widow. That I feel like is the scene where we most see him without the pretenses, but I can't remember what specifically he's wearing.
I so disagree, but when we get to that, we will have that discussion, because I have such thoughts on fucking Gabriel, let me tell you.
Yeah.
This guy just, like, stepped out of person of interest.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, what if person of interest was the computer was bad, actually?
It is fun that Gabriel is sort of a very different villain than we've ever seen in an MI movie before. Like, we've never had one that is just like, oh shit, this dude is like totally off the rails. Like,
I think
Lane
we're
is
supposed
very...
to with Owen Davian. Like, he is basically what if Owen Davian was well done, because he has the backstory.
Yeah, exactly.
I still hate Owen Davian as a character, guys.
Yeah, it's true. Oh, he has Owen Davian sort of like off the wall, like don't know what he's gonna do, but it feels genuine somehow when Gabriel does it.
Because he actually got a backstory. Because McHugh is a writer. Okay, so lawyer outfit, yay or nay?
Oh, definitely yay. I think the only thing that I'm mad about is that he didn't keep the glasses on longer. That was a cheap cutout there, taking the glasses off as soon as we see him.
Yeah, you fucking tease.
I do, however, okay, so one thing that I love, this scene right now where Ethan is basically...
the cold read on her?
The cold read on her. I have this strong opinion that this cold read, both the previous scene where he is cold reading what she did with the key, and we find out that was, or it's implied that that's exactly what she did. I love the idea that this cold read is exactly accurate, but something about it to me signals that this is also about Ethan. I don't know exactly why I think that, but something about the fact that he's sort of talking about this sort of feeling of like growing up poor and just like sort of yearning for things, it feels to me like a gesture to backstory that they're never going to fully fill in for Ethan.
I love this moment though, hold on. This, like, oh, I love how restrained his annoyance with everybody in this movie is. But I do agree, yeah, especially because this is the movie that does that little retcon and establishes, like, how everybody is here because of the fucking choice.
Right.
Everybody in the IMF that you've ever seen is potentially a criminal.
Mm-hmm. In fact, it's implied that everybody is. It's just our theories that potentially not everybody is. In, for example, in MI3 or things like that.
Yeah, because MI3 doesn't make sense, unfortunately.
Yeah. But definitely after McHugh, it would make sense that basically everybody in the IMF, except maybe the secretaries, are criminals.
Well, I mean, our last secretary was the director of the CIA, so he's definitely a criminal.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think he was going to be put in prison, though.
Do you think they were happy to get rid of him in the CIA because he said that thing about how torture doesn't work, and the CIA was like, hey, we like torture.
Maybe that was actually why he got laterally moved, quote unquote, to the IMF, was because he was actually sort of against torture, and they were like, what the fuck are you doing here? Go somewhere else.
It's like, yeah, we can't do our job without that, actually, so...
That's our one tool, actually. I love also the implication that there are a couple of words that Grace knows in every single language. And I love the implication that one of those words is, you pervert. That is so funny to me.
The way, like, Ethan will not hurt these people because, like, deep down he's happy that they did this to help somebody, but also, god damn it, fuck, he's so exhausted. I'm noticing, like, this is the one movie that we haven't watched like 20 times, so it's fun to still be noticing things, but like he's just kind of annoyed and pissed off, but in his own very quiet, reserved way. He's the way he was like guiding her in that scene had really interesting, like the way he was holding her is just like more bossy and more forceful than I'm used to from Ethan, and I like that for like he's just this entire situation sucks and he's tired of it.
Yeah. I do sort of like the contrast though between when that sharp difference that happens when they trade off driving, where like suddenly like he's still annoyed, but he's like very passive about it. Like he's like, okay, hands off the wheel, like it's her wheel. Like it's very much like he realizes like he cannot control this moment.
Yeah, because he's still Ethan Hunt and he still falls in love with every single person he meets. Just rolling up the
it's so fucking every time. Good, and then Jesus. Immediately gut punch into
that
the
is
car
such
crash.
A good edit. Fuck me. Because you so expect something else, and when that happens, it's just brutal.
Yeah. And somehow it works in your mind, so every time as you're laughing, you're like, oh yeah, I remember I laugh at this point, but you never remember what comes right after.
Yeah, it's like, man, it still keeps...
it's also so very stupid. Good, yeah. I love Ethan just casually climbing over the top of that car just to get there a little bit quicker.
Yep, because now he's fucking... I love, like, he still has a motive here. He needs to get them out of here. But also, he has fully stopped and he's concerned. Because she was just in a fucking car crash.
Yeah.
Also, I love how long this shot is.
Mm-hmm.
This is such an interesting shot. It's almost like we're in Ethan's mind for just a moment.
Also, I love... It is... You're right. That is very much what it is. But also, I love that this is another example of, like, the, like, human shield idea that comes up in Rogue Nation, where there's that scene where he's Ilsa's human shield, and there's actually a moment where, like, oh, Ethan's using her to shield him from, Degas and, what's Shea Whigham's character's name?
Oh, fuck, I don't remember. Briggs? Is it Briggs?
Yeah. And then as soon as he realizes that on the other side of him is someone who will actually shoot her, he's like, oh no, I'm getting in front of her.
Yeah. This fucking... I need the story, McHugh. I need to know. Like, this is the perfect setup for when, like, he gets control of both of them on top of the train. It's like, that thing that we keep talking about with Ethan is, like, his ability to just control people and, like, get them on his side. It's like he's, like, planted that seed that's going to, like, save his fucking life later.
Yeah.
I still don't know if this or the Paris motorcycle chase is my favorite sequence in Mission Impossible.
Yeah. It's a hard one because on the one hand, this one has the little Fiat, which you absolutely love.
I love the little Fiat.
On the other hand, it doesn't have any motorcycles, which is also a shame.
Yes. But also... I've said this every single time. I've never felt more connected to a fucking character in anything than I do to Ethan Hunt in this sequence. I am the driving gay. I'm a very, very fucking good driver. And the specific way that he, like, tries to brace himself later on when he puts his foot up on the fucking dashboard to, like, hold himself in place because he's freaking out. I love it. I love this entire thing.
I didn't actually see any shot where we could see what the logos were on those motorcycles that just got knocked over, but I do like to imagine that they're all BMWs and that whoever authorized giving them like 35 BMWs saw this scene in that movie and was like, man, maybe I should not have done that.
Hey, they're all gonna work. This is so fucking impressive. Jesus fucking Christ. TC, what the actual fuck? Also, greatest character moment ever. That right there, we know exactly who Paris is as a person.
Mm-hmm.
She's so excited to just like drive through those fucking scooters.
Yeah, Paris being like an absolute like little gremlin is so good in this movie.
I love stunt driving. I just love it. This sequence to me is more impressive than the leap off the cliff.
Mm-hmm. It's more technically involved, I feel like.
Yeah.
Because there are more players.
And the way that he has to drift on these fucking slick roads with the cobblestone is just...
Mm-hmm.
This is so difficult. And he's doing it one fucking hand.
Yeah.
The fucking constant confused little bit of business.
I do. The other thing I love about this Fiat bit. Okay, I like this like premise that like basically they have these sort of like safe caches everywhere where they can just pick something up. I do like that. But also I love that this strategy just fundamentally does not work anymore. Like, I love that Ethan is still sort of used to old school where you could just like change out the car and then you would be you would be able to like get lost in the crowd. But it doesn't work because things like facial recognition mean that like he can immediately like be found out as like, oh, this car is still the one that we need. And I don't know, I like that it's a little... Okay, wait, we have to talk about this. Do you want to talk about this or should I?
You do, because I see it. I didn't initially...
So this is my theory about this moment specifically, where Ethan crashes and he's apologizing to Grace.
Uh-huh. What's it a metaphor for?
It is definitely a metaphor for impotence. Just 100%. That is what's happening. Because the way you can see it on her face, you can see that she's sort of like trying to be really kind and like, it's totally fine. No need to stress. And that she's more worried about him being worried about it. And it's just so clearly like a metaphor for like, oh yeah, Ethan is impotent in that moment. And she's like trying to be kind to him. I just love it so much.
I think where I bump up against it is that this entire sequence is just his peak dad moment.
Mm-hmm.
Like this. Okay, so I made the joke from the very beginning, and I had to eventually explain it. Like, I assume that Grace is actually British because she doesn't know how to drive. Because if you live in like the greater London area, you literally don't need to know how to drive. It's not a skill that you need to know. And she's so fucking bad at it. And so this entire thing does read to me as like almost paternal. Not quite, because his level of patience is so low. He's trying so hard to be patient while also freaking out laconically. And it's great. But like all these little moments of like trying to get her to do various things and explaining how the fuck the car works to her is just... That's where I bump up into it, and also I love this.
Yeah. Also, the only thing that I don't like about this particular part of this chase, where they're going down the steps, is that before I saw this, my mom had read me a news story about how there actually was someone who drove down the Spanish steps in like a fucking Ferrari or something like that. And it was some asshole tourist, and I'm just like, every time I think like, God, I hope nobody is like, oh yeah, we can totally do that. No, they did not actually touch the Spanish steps.
God. Republic of Gamers poster in the background.
Man, that's an incredible pull. I know you can identify the laptop that Benji's using later.
Shut the fuck up. Shut up. Shut up. It was a specific... Look, everybody... It's a fucking specific laptop. You'll see it later. I love that.
It's so good.
I love her staring at them like, what the fuck is going on? Oh, I'm like, oh, his fucking hover hand. His hover hand is so fucking great. I've never connected to a character more. Oh, fuck, it's so good.
It's so fucking good.
Oh, she's learning!
Also, that, like, when he is telling her to go right and she goes left or whatever it is,
that is
totally something that I, A, would have done, and B, actually have done when I was in my, not my driving test, but when I was in driving school. My instructor was driving in the car with me, and he was like, okay, turn right up here. And so I got into the left lane, and he's like, you're taking a right. And I was like, uh-huh. And he's like, this is the left lane. Anyway, so I identify with Grace a little bit, because I do drive, but not well.
I'm sorry, it's my face. That fucking full body cringe where his hands are up and his foot's on the fucking dash. Oh my god.
Yeah. It's very good.
So it's good to know that you're the Grace in this situation and I'm the Ethan.
Yeah, so clearly you're always going to drive when we meet up.
Oh yeah. The only time I don't drive is when my brother is visiting, because he literally used to be a delivery driver, so I implicitly trust him not to kill me.
I didn't know Tree used to be a delivery driver.
Huh. He's an extremely good driver.
Interesting.
And it's nice to finally sit in the passenger seat of a car. I do it very rarely. I wonder if this is like... How the way that Ethan stays ahead of the entity is, I don't know. It's just him going, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Oh, this moment. I just want to watch him for a moment. Look at this. Oh. You see what I mean about this, like, he's controlled, but there's just this anger. Because everything is just spinning out of control for him.
Yeah.
It's just omnipresent.
It's interesting, actually, because I'm thinking about it as sort of similar to that moment at the beginning of Fallout where Ilsa appears, and Ethan's sort of mad. He's like, you should have gotten out.
Yeah.
And she's like, you should have come with me. It's sort of a similar moment, only in Dead Reckoning, it never goes away. Ethan is just... absolutely so fucking done the entire movie.
Yeah, it's like like in Fallout you have the moments where he gets angry, and in this movie you have an omnipresent, like, low grade frustration that gets popped, like, right here when he turns around and sees Benji is there to help. It's like for a moment he's like, okay, God. Also, that's still a very funny thing with him just, like, walking around fucking handcuffed to the goddamn wheel.
And that he almost tries to hold it because he's so used to holding the wheel. I love that so much.
Like, what do you do? Yeah, like, this movie is just, it sucks. And then he gets, like, little moments of relief from his friends. I'm really enjoying, like, seeing this and realizing that. It's like, Ethan, you need a fucking nap. And, like, at least 2 Valium. And we're back in black, by the way.
Yeah, true. It does make me wonder where we're going to go from here, what Ethan's point of view is going to be in the next one, right? Because if Fallout was, like, his nightmare, and then this is basically, like, the most obnoxious 3 days or whatever that he's ever had, what is the last movie going to be?
if I had my druthers and I had McHugh's ear, I'm just thinking about the fact that we know that a lot of it is going to be Ethan and Benji, and McHugh has been explicitly talking about how much he's enjoying writing that dynamic between them. I would like to see, like, Ethan just kind of fraying, and Benji having to be the one to, like, ground him as they're trying to get through whatever the fuck McHugh and TC are putting these characters through in the next one. Because they're going to be alone for a while until they meet up with Luther again, and I'm super psyched for that.
Yeah.
Just let Ethan just emotions. I just like it when he finally breaks through and has emotions.
Also, I love the idea, considering what we talked about earlier about Benji's scene getting cut. I love the idea that we could potentially dig into Benji's point of view in that segment where it's just Ethan and Benji, because that would be so fucking juicy. If, like, I don't think Ethan would even know what to do in that moment where he has to keep going, but he's also absolutely filled with, like, the regret that he's brought, in some senses, Benji into this. Like, this is a little bit of a thing for me, but I think that we should lean more into Ethan does not like himself, and he's very good at, like, focusing on other things, and he doesn't, like, dwell on it, but I think there is a part of him that is, like, very, very angry at himself a lot of the time.
I can see that. I'm, like, rerunning, you know me, I'm accessing the mental footage. But, like, I think the thing that grounds him is that he does know he can get concrete results in a way that few other people can, and that's what unfortunately keeps him going. Thanks, Julia, for doubling down on that in the last 5 minutes. I was just thinking about that
scene, right?
Yep, you're always going to be there. And he is, and he's good at it, and there is just, like, it's not darkness, but there is just something to him in Dead Reckoning specifically. It's very interesting.
It is actually interesting to think about this, basically his mental state in this movie being a response to him taking Julia's response at the end of Fallout and having internalized that for however many years is in between, and now it's basically poisoned him because he's so beyond ready to be done, but he doesn't feel like he can, and so it's sort of just, like, left this, like, bitterness almost where, like, he still loves everybody and he still will do anything for them, but he's also
there's a new
just
resignation to him. There's a new resignation that this is going to be all he does for the rest of his life. I still remember when we were running up to this movie, if you had asked me to put my entire bank account on which character was going to die, I would have picked Ethan before Ilsa.
Interesting.
And, like, and then she went down, and I was like, oh my fucking god. And then I was mad for 10 minutes, and I was like, wait, this is actually genius.
Yeah, and I do think that depending on how things shook out with the filming schedule for Dune 2, I could absolutely see Rebecca Ferguson appearing in some way in the next one. Because what has McHugh said? It's like he says he has a whole bunch of sticky notes on the board, and he doesn't ever take away a sticky note unless he's really sure. He just sort of, like, moves it to another sort of, like, spot where, like, he can come back to it later if he needs to.
Yeah. And I wouldn't be upset, but, like, from a writing standpoint, from a thematic standpoint, I do want her to stay dead because of what it means in the context of this movie and specifically the themes of this movie.
Yeah, for sure.
But we should hold on that for, like, just, like, 20 more minutes.
Yeah.
So, Ethan's hair. I am so fucking torn on it. I've been thinking about this for the last hour 15.
Okay.
Do I dislike it? I feel like in some shots it's great. But, like, I just miss the Fallout hair. It reminds me so much of a mix between the Fallout hair and the Twinkathan hair that, like, I just want either one of those instead.
I think I mean, again, if we're talking about sort of like thematically, I think it's actually poignant that it's like halfway between the Twinklethin hair and Fallout hair.
God, you're so fucking right.
Right? Because literally this is if Oldathan has to go through what Twinklethin went through, basically.
We're
like, again.
Closing the circle.
Yeah. But also, you're so right. I used to think the shorter the better, but I have just completely fallen in love with the Fallout hair. The Fallout hair is just so good.
This haircut is a little too utilitarian for him.
Yeah, I think it almost comes off as military to me, which I don't like.
Yes. Mhm. It's such a cute scene. I like how almost bashful she gets and how he, like, looks away. It's just cute.
It's really cute, yeah.
Look at her face. The way she, like, presses her lips together. It's like, aww. And that's all you get. Oh, no. You get the holding hands, which I think is maybe the most romantic moment in Mission Impossible. It's just this. They're holding hands. There's swinging lights behind them. It's just a beautiful shot. I don't know where the fuck the cameraman is to get this shot. Is he, like, floating beside the fucking thing?
I don't know.
Shout out to whatever that cameraman had to do to get that shot.
Hey, it's not as great as what the cameraman had to do to get the Fallout Halo shots.
Everything TC did, backwards and in heels.
Yeah. Okay, are we going to talk about what we learned about the entity and the entity noises from the commentary?
You're going to have to, because I remember it's something weird, but I don't quite remember. Oh, it's from, hold on. I got it. I'm pulling it from my brain. It's the sound editor's Sonos soundbar that was broken, but he left it broken because it made the weird sounds. Mm-hmm. And that is what was used to make the entity, right? Was that it?
That was it. And he literally recorded it and brought it to McHugh on set and was like, what do you think about this? And McHugh was like, yeah, that's it. That's great. That's perfect. Or maybe he brought it to Lauren. I'm not sure. But yeah, I love that. And there was also something in the commentary about how basically the design of this. Okay, I'll let you talk about this first. Talk about
no. Go ahead, finish your thought, and then we can go into how much I hate Gabriel.
The design of this party with like the lights all going everywhere actually came first, and then as they were filming it, they realized like, oh, this is sort of thematically like the center of the entity, and so they reverse engineered from here what the visuals for the entity would be. Okay, go ahead. Okay. You hate Gabriel.
Are you taking? You're removing my limiter?
Yeah.
My whole thing with Gabriel is that I think that he is an absolute fucking liar. Mm-hmm. That he is self-mythologized himself so much as this idea of a prophet and a truth-sayer, and that he is going to come and tell you what your destiny is. But the big thing is that he's a liar. The thing, when he predicts people's futures, he's fucking wrong. Mm-hmm. He makes prediction after prediction after prediction, and then, like, oh my god, the widow actually showed up on the Orient Express, just like Gabriel's. Well, yes, when you keep, like, rolling the dice, eventually you're going to hit the 6. But everything else is just wrong. All these little fucking predictions he comes up with are bullshit. And the way that he later, like, positions it as if Ethan is the one who decides how this evening is going to break in half, mm-hmm. to bastardize Richard Sykin, is also bullshit. Because that's not how this actually goes down. So my favorite thing about him is he's just a propaganda leader. Nothing he says is true. Anyway.
I think it's true that what he says has more to do with manipulation than interaction with the truth, which I think is almost exactly what they say about the entity in one of those first scenes, is like, it creates the truth based on what it needs to accomplish its goal or something like that. Like, I don't think he cares about what the truth is. He cares about what he can say to get the effect he wants.
Yeah. I'm just hoping that the shoe drops on that and that we finally acknowledge that he's just a fucking liar. I know, it's so hard to talk over Alana.
Yeah, she's so good.
Hypnotic. Her ability to make every single line sound like innuendo is truly impressive.
It is really impressive.
Also, I love Zola. I think I just like the actor's face a lot. I love looking at Zola.
Yeah, he's good. Also, I love all of the outfits here. It's true. Okay, so now I'm noticing Gabriel's outfit. I think that is interesting. I think it's interesting that this feels like, you're right. Now that I'm seeing it, it is still a costume. It's that, like, truth-sayer costume.
He is dressed up like he's playing the Antichrist in some fucking dime store DVD Christian movie.
Yeah. Nothing a taser can't fix.
Look at Tarzan. Look at Tarzan. Oh man, come on.
For friendship.
Is that what you call it, Alana?
Crazy line.
Maybe it is intentional.
What?
Maybe because the constant refrain of this is that the entity is erasing truth and like reducing it to nothing.
Yeah.
And like all Gabriel does is say very pretty lies. So maybe it is intentional. And a few minor ones. I love her little nose wrinkle. It's so good.
It's very good. Yeah, I should save it to later, but I'm gonna forget. I love what Vanessa Kirby does in this movie, because when she's playing the Grey Widow later, she does it so well that I was thinking about Haley Atwell the entire time.
Absolutely. She is tremendous. Like, it took me to the second viewing to go, oh shit, that's not a mask. That's her. She's playing a character, playing her character. That's so fucking good.
It's really, really good. Like, I don't... Again, we're talking about, like, the mask gags in this movie. I don't think any MI movie has done even close to how strong the mask work has been in this movie, in terms of, like, it's actually important, it's plot relevant, and it's really, really satisfying.
Yeah. There's that fucking Sonos soundbar. Give it to Ethan, for the love of fucking God. I love that moment, because it's like, it is distastefully put, because he's speaking her language a little bit, let's be real. We talked over it, but the fucking implication that, like, to get Alana off Ilsa's back, Ethan did maybe a honeypot trade. Very funny.
I cannot start talking about Ethan and Alana without going fucking batshit. And I personally, I've campaigned with Ark about this. I personally think that we should do a re-recording of our other commentaries, specifically the good ones, specifically Ghost Protocol, Rogue Nation, Fallout, because I have cracked Fallout. I swear to God, I have a reading of Fallout that is so much better than the straight reading of Fallout that I go fucking crazy about it. So if you want to hear that,
straight reading.
Yeah,
our reading was good.
It's fine. I love it. I love my new reading, and I think it deepens the reading of the film to a fantastic degree.
I'll think about it. Fuck off, you fucking liar. You will bear win. I fucking...
It's not his choice. It has nothing to do with him. Ilsa's the one who gets to make the choice. And specifically, the entity uses Benji's voice and uses this very interesting sort of like parallel to MI1 is running through the alleyways to make sure that it's not Ethan's choice.
Oh yeah, give us the trailer line.
This specific shot of Alana, to me, reads as like Vanessa Kirby is the only person who could star as the former role that Tilda Swinton took in Constantine.
Yes!
That is the same vibe.
I love that they changed this fucking line for the trailer. I also find it very funny. Here we go. The fact they cut the "you or your god" down to "you," it's like, gotta protect the delicate American audiences, don't we?
But once they got you in the theater, they're like, no, fuck you. We're actually going to talk about Ethan killing gods.
Mm-hmm. They just are truly in a clusterfuck.
Yeah. It is interesting, considering this is basically the last full scene we have of actual Alana in the movie, to wonder what she's gonna be like in the next one. Like, where is she gonna be pure anti-Ethan at that point?
Because, oh yeah, has he broken their quote-unquote friendship with this?
Right, exactly.
Or is she just gonna flip it and be like, well, I can always trust you to eventually do the right thing for us all. Oof! Fucking love! Yep! He's so much angrier in this movie. Even the physicality is angry. Oh, yeah! I'm adjusting in my seat because it's so exciting. I need to sit up.
I cannot sit up anymore because Lyra is currently sitting in my lap. I love that Zola is so confused by, like, basic magic tricks.
Ethan, that's Zola that you just punched in the face. Like, he's just... We are so fucking done with the kit gloves.
Yeah.
Oh, this fucking zoom. This zoom! That one! Yes! Cinema. Fucking cinema. It's just such a fucking good shot.
Yeah. And then this is basically, like, I don't even know how many minutes of just TC getting to run.
After this incredible... Oh, I love how they just melt out of the shadows. That is so fucking cool. Also, I like how she fights like somebody who is not trained to fight, really. Mm-hmm. And how he just rushes in and she's like, alright, I'm out. Fucking peace. The fucking grace. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Like, Ethan fucking Hunt, this is the guy, she just threw one of the guys at him while he was already in a fight, and he's still gonna say that her life is always going to be more important than his own. Like, this motherfucker. What's that fucking the actor is the special effect?
I don't know. I will say though, in the commentary, McHugh said that he asked the set designer for a few candles, and then this is what he came to set with the next day.
Of course, you have TC run through them all. Of fucking course. Look at it.
Yeah.
I actually didn't realize the first time I watched it that we are just turning the rising action of MI1 into a tortuous like nightmare.
Yeah. And the thing that I could not stop thinking about in the theater is specifically how something about the white undershirt with the black shirt over the top is such a clear mirror to what Ethan is wearing in MI1.
Damn it, I just lost your
in
sound.
That same scene. Oh, it's fine. I was still talking.
Okay. The black shirt with the white, what about it?
It's exactly the same. It's mirroring the outfit that Ethan is wearing in that exact scene in MI1. Like, something about, I don't know if it's the collar, I don't know what the fucking... It's incredible.
It's the collar, because when he's walking to the aquarium afterward, that slow walk where you finally see how tired he is, one of the most distinctive thing is like the tie is off, his collar is loose, and he just looks exhausted. How many times is the enemy going to use Benji's voice against Ethan fucking Hunt?
Yeah. It's true. It is that interesting parallel between, like, Lane and the Entity. And I don't actually think that Lane is probably going to come back just because poor Sean Harris. But I do like the idea that, like, there's something about Benji that just makes him clearly Ethan's weakness.
Yeah. Also, the fact that he literally is just like, okay, this isn't working. Fucking peace out, bitches. I'm getting on a boat. I love Benji. But the whole thing is, like, it's very, like, I would have 2 nickels, and that's not a lot, but it is weird that it has happened twice.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Should we finally talk about why actually Ilsa dying is fucking awesome?
Do it.
Oh, okay. You're just gonna fucking throw me to the... Okay, so...
I can talk too, but you clearly want to talk about it. I will back you up.
Because, like... That's so fucking good. So, one of the recurring things in this long sequence is Ethan's helplessness. He's trying desperately to go and save Grace, and he just can't because everything is getting in the way. History is literally repeating itself on him. The Entity has stolen the voice of his most trusted guide and has led him into a fucking awful, brutal fucking fight. So he's just not going to get there in time. And so Ilsa steps up and, like, this entire movie is about the evolution of the IMF into this radical altruism that we've seen building up, especially in Fallout, where there is no such thing to Ethan Hunt as acceptable collateral damage. There is no amount of people that it's okay to let them die for the greater good. He will fight to save absolutely everyone, and if he fails along the way, at least he failed trying to save everyone.
Yeah.
And when we
meet
Ilsa, Yeah.
In contrast, Ilsa's story has always been sort of at odds with Ethan, which is like in Rogue Nation, she was having to like double agent for around Lane and the Syndicate, and then in Fallout, they're like actively enemies for most of the movie because she's trying to kill Lane. Basically, she's doing the opposite of what Ethan would do. She's saying it's worth it for me to kill Lane, A, because he fucking deserves it, but B, because that's what I need to get out.
And this is how I come home. She is motivated by herself. And that's fine. And
it's like, yeah, it's totally fine. But it's like, she has that same, it shows at the beginning when she appears in the desert, it shows that she never got out, even when theoretically that was the whole point of that like cut scene at the end of Fallout where they gave Lane to the White Widow. Like, she never got out. And even when after that scene in the desert where Ethan is like, leave, do not come back, he's converted her. Like, she believes now in basically the premise that these people's lives mean more to her than her own. And this is the culmination of her entire character arc as, like, no, I refuse to be mercenary. I refuse to be what MI6 made me to be, or what Ethan, or what Lane, like, wanted me to be. Like, I am just going to be a radical altruist.
There should be another pin in that for the fucking anger of Ethan in this movie. Yeah. And, like, the thing that we get, like, right after Ilsa's death is that long sequence in which, like Tom Cruise comes out and says the theme. He just says the fucking theme of the movie. Yeah. And one of the things I find interesting about it is that the only reason these people in the IMF fucking survive is when he says, your life will always mean more to me than my own. Everybody else agrees with him. So they cover for each other. Because they are together, they can actually survive with that kind of absolutely fucking insane credo. And that's the only, and that is why Ilsa unfortunately dies, is because Grace's life is more important to her in this moment than her own, but there's nobody else here.
Yeah, and Grace has not yet converted to the cause.
Yeah, and also to be fair, she's also passed out over there. Also, fuck, this scene's so good. But like, this is the culmination of the entire theme of what McHugh has been building and building and building over. It comes to a head with Ilsa. Ethan is not the one who gets to make the choice here. Ilsa's finally the one who steps up and says, like, okay, this is no longer about me. I'm going to do this for somebody else. And it sucks that she dies for it, but it's not like it's a bad death. She's doing it because she believes in this fucking lunatic cause.
Yeah.
That there's no such thing as an acceptable loss. Oh, Ilsa.
Yeah. I do just want to point out also another element that makes this to me a clear corollary to the MI1 moment is the fucking fog. The fog that is so present in that scene by the river in MI1 is here. And I love that they clearly had to generate this. Like, it wasn't just naturally this foggy. They created all of this fog in these scenes, in these alleyway scenes, because they're like, oh yeah, that was something that people are going to remember from MI1.
Cycle repeats. You're still where you were 20 years ago, baby. Yeah. I think it might be the character death I'm happiest about. Because I tend to be like, alright, that character's dead. Like the ones in the Magnus archives. A lot of characters die in that. I never really felt anything very strong about it, like thematically. And I'm just a thematically driven person. It's the most important part of any story to me. So to see it executed so well here kind of makes me just hate McHugh.
Yeah.
And also, you could see that Grace's life is now before and after this moment.
And it's also like, I think part of what we're arguing here is that Ilsa's death is not in any way cheap. It's not just like, oh, I don't want to have to deal with another female character. I only want to have one actress on set, so I'm just going to kill off Ilsa. Like, it's obviously not
it
that.
Makes no sense because, yeah.
It's obviously that McHugh is really deeply thinking about Ilsa's arc and about even the motivation of the entire sort of like organization that is central to this series. And he's saying they need a new saint. They need someone to like affirm that this is what they are, this is what they do. And it's going to be Ilsa, even though she's the least likely person, because she was so out for her own good and out to get out. And it's going to be basically like, it's not about like, oh, she's just like a tool to hurt Ethan, because it's her choice 100% the entire time.
As if Ethan wouldn't have like taken that bullet, taken that knife 100 times for anybody.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't get the choice, and that's why Gabriel's full of shit. Pin back in that.
There is something in this scene that comes up a little bit later where Luther says something like, or Grace says something like, and everything will be okay, or something like that. And Luther says yes. And then Ethan comes back and he says no. I do like that moment because it's like, wait, I think it's coming up.
There's like a lack of optimism to Ethan in this one. He's finally a realist.
Yeah, he no longer has that like everything's gonna work out, but he's like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if the world ends because we will have done the right thing.
Yeah. That is such an interesting fucking word choice.
Mm-hmm.
To be a thing that has already died, Ethan?
Yeah.
That is sure fucking interesting.
It is interesting that they never explain why, of all of the masks, this one, for some reason, this mask kit did not come with contacts.
But I love it. It's so fucking good.
I do think it's fun practically because they did need to have some visual indicator of that difference. I do think, logically speaking, it does not make any sense because it's such an obvious, stark difference. Like, how could Kittredge not be like, wait, when did your eyes change color? Yeah.
Fucking Vanessa Kirby, what the fuck?
Yeah. Also, I love that they're using the same trick that they used in Fallout, where they're previewing the whole plan, but silently, so that you don't know whether it's actually happening.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, mm-hmm. You gotta, anytime you explain the plan will not work. That is how writing works.
Mm-hmm.
I've done that trick.
Also, I love that somehow that mask also in that imaginary scenario makes Ethan grow like several inches.
There's lips.
Clandestine services. What the fuck does that mean? Is that a real thing?
Never heard of it. No. You know, that is the thing about Kittredge. He is fucking predictable as shit.
Which is interesting, because we've talked about how that's also true of Ethan. Ethan is in his own way, predictable, right? We were having this conversation when we were watching, what was it, Rogue Nation, which has the line where somebody accuses Ethan of being a gambler.
Oh,
yes, he gambles, but he gambles on a sure thing. He gambles on his own competence, which he has gone to great lengths to assure. And it's like, in a sense, he's erratic because he's constantly making up plans as he goes along. But the results are always not quite guaranteed, but at this point, pretty much guaranteed.
Yeah. Here we go.
That's it.
Say the theme.
God, Haley Atwell.
He said it! I just threw my hands in the air like an idiot. That's the theme of the entire Mission Impossible franchise, ladies and gentlemen. You just fucking said it. You just said it out loud. Oh, fucking McHugh.
But I do love that he says it almost in counter to Luther, because Luther's instinct is still to promise that she'll be okay. It's like Luther is still operating on the impulse that she is a civilian, basically, and that their job is to protect her. Whereas Ethan is saying, no, we can't protect you, but we protect each other.
We'll see you about, I'm going to guess, 40 minutes into the next movie, Luther.
Okay, we need to mark that down somewhere. Somebody needs to keep track of Ark's bet there.
Have you ever seen me and McHugh in the same room? Nope. God, I wish I had his hair. I don't want to be him. I just want his fucking beautiful hair. When I finally start going gray, I'm going to stop dyeing my hair, and I'm going to do the bouffant thing that he does.
I want his
and
beard.
Finally, I'll be happy. It is very good.
Yeah.
See, now that I'm like really analyzing this movie from the Ethan is angry point of view, this conversation makes so much more sense.
Because Luther's like, Ethan is on the edge of losing it right now.
Yeah. Like that moment because we were talking about the theme and Ilsa and everything, but that moment where he finally beats Paris after she nearly strangles him, and he just picks up the fucking pipe and hits it over her head and then walks away, that is not Fallout Ethan.
No.
That's no other Ethan would have done that.
Yeah.
There's something going on. he's remember when Fallout, when we were first talking about Fallout, and one of my recurring things is that like Ethan is getting to a point that like he's not actually a good secret agent anymore because his flaws are so big and so bright. They're like neon hit me here targets. And it's like we're finally kind of seeing like the continuation and the fallout of that with this Ethan.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, I don't know. I can't explain it, but it's like he fundamentally can no longer keep his cool about how fucked up everything is.
Yeah. Because it's never going to, he doesn't get a stop. He's never going to stop. So this is just his life.
But it's also like, I think it's also partially just being mad that this is how the world works. He's mad that people are always chasing them. He's mad that people are making AIs that will try and take over the world. He's mad that there are people like Gabriel still out there. Like, it's not just that he's mad on his own behalf. He's also just fucking furious that nothing has changed.
Because we are back in MI1. Because we're pulling things into a full circle. The same horseshit that he was dealing with back in Prague continues on. It just has, like, fancier graphics.
Yep.
Now you're speaking his language. No matter what stupid, ridiculous stunt my actor has decided to do this movie, I will be there. Fucking, I love, that she falls and then gets up and just, like, is so happily running across the top of the train. Like, God, she's so fucking good.
Yeah. She's like a little tank.
Can you imagine if they had killed her off at the end of this movie?
It would have been such a shame.
I know. I can see, like, that at least on some version they intended to do it. And thank God they're like, we can't do that. We need her.
Mm-hmm.
You can't take that sticky note off the fucking wall. This part's so dumb. This is my no sell of the movie.
Yeah, I don't really get it either.
Except for the fact that he's so high on his own supply that, yeah, he would do that.
Yeah.
I hate Gabriel so much.
Yeah, Gabriel's not great.
They did such a good job making a hateable fucker.
Mm-hmm. Which I think is impressive considering, like, Lane, I feel, is so compelling. And I think Lane is so clearly in some ways right that you can't hate him. And I think Walker is so charismatic that you can't really hate him. But Gabriel is somehow, like, charismatic and still so fucking hateable.
He's so detestable. It's impressive. What was the fucking story so, like, with Palm, who is just immaculate, one of the fucking best parts of this goddamn movie. Like,
Mm-hmm.
So what was it? They were doing, like, a screen test with Tom and her, and he and Palm were just chit-chatting, and she mentioned, like, oh, sorry, that, like, English is not my first language. And McHugh was like, what's your first language? And she's like, French. And TC and McHugh looked at each other, and Tom just said, McHugh? And he's like, I'm working on it. And that is why she's Paris.
Yeah.
And thank God.
Yeah. And it's like, I feel like McHugh said something about basically, like, he had a couple of lines written for Paris already, but he threw them out completely because he was like, oh, no, obviously she's only going to talk French in the movie.
Mm-hmm. Like, we suddenly know who this person is.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck is your history, Briggs?
I know, right? Oh.
Are you guys exes? Like, what the fuck?
I know, it does have really strong X's energy.
They keep having these, like, long looks where they're clearly having a conversation with their eyes.
Mm-hmm.
He's so angry. The fact that he just snapped back at Benji, how do you think? It's like, oh my god. So,
Tell us about the laptop, Ark.
Fuck off. It's a Republic of Gamers Zephyrus. Go fuck yourself.
And how do you know?
Because it's a distinctive laptop.
It has the little mini display.
Yes, it's a dual screen. It's one of the first, like, commercially available dual screens.
And it's a gamer laptop. which is interesting to me about
Benji.
Benji.
It's made by Asus. Anyway. Don't fucking test me. I'll get you even more into video games.
No, I think this is wonderful. I genuinely think this is wonderful. What I will say is I was sort of annoyed, again, with the idea that, like, they're still using self-driving cars and stuff like that in this movie, despite the fact that the entity is theoretically poisoning all technology. But the only thing that has won me over on that bit is what you pointed out, which is that moment where Benji's like, is this a fucking stupid idea? Well, can't change it. Better put on my seatbelt. That's the only thing that saves it for me.
You can't care about every damn thing.
Yeah.
Which is a pull that all the way back from fucking Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy that has lived in my brain ever since.
This is such a good fucking line, and you never will, is such a good indicator of what Grace is good at, because she's only met Alana for a single scene, but she still knows that she would say some fucking bullshit. And it's... I just love it.
Poor fucking Zola.
Yeah. How does she know what Kittredge looks like?
She doesn't. He just said his name. Or he was just introduced.
Oh, okay.
Have your heart attack later, Grace.
But it is incredible how already I'm not thinking about... It's such a completely different character. This, like, bad Grace trying to do the White Widow, when actually it's literally just Vanessa Kirby again.
It is, yeah, because I was just then falling into that same trap.
Uh-huh. Zola.
It's amazing Grace gets away with this, honest to God.
Yeah.
Seriously, Grace, not the time?
Vanessa Kirby's so fucking good.
She is! I love this as Grace's motivation, because clearly she's just been very badly spooked by the fucking IMF priesthood of idiots.
Mm-hmm.
And is like, I would like to have some fucking concrete protection, actually. This whole thing sounds batshit.
Yeah.
It's just a really good, like, continuity of character.
And I do love it that basically it sets up that she comes down to a single moment. This scene is like the only scene since MI1 where there is even a hint of, like, gross sexual undertones to a woman, and literally they get immediately fucking killed, which I appreciate.
And so MI2, and all the ones in MI2.
Okay, yes, MI2 doesn't count.
It does count. The MI2 apologist has logged on. Fucking awesome. But yes, I do love that the dude is a little, because we've literally seen somebody else get the frisk. Cazola frisks Grace in the club, and he doesn't do that thing, and therefore he gets to live.
Yeah.
If you're fucking weird about frisking people, you fucking die. Narrative karma, bitch.
So it's interesting that he apparently wants to kill Kittredge. I love how stupid he is. He's so fucking stupid.
He's stupid in the specific way that powerful men are.
Yeah, exactly. It's interesting. Why is he riding like a dirt bike here? Is it because of the train that he's on? Okay.
Yeah, a standard motorcycle would be faster, but would not handle this terrain even remotely well. Because of the weight of a motorcycle, if it started to tip on one of these hills, he would be fucked. He would probably be dead.
Gotcha, okay.
Oh, we are now 2 hours and 3 minutes in, and we're finally fucking talking about the Sevastopol again.
Mm-hmm.
So that is almost exactly 2 hours of lag time between that cold open and bringing up that fucking ship again.
And it is interesting to me because I assume it's just because McHugh really, really liked the movies that he's pulling from in that segment. But that's actually the most modern, like, what's the line? Like, the newest Russian submarine or whatever. Everything about that submarine read as like, oh, this is straight out of like the 50s or the 60s. Like, it's wild to me that they're like, oh yeah, this is a completely modern submarine. Because I assumed that sequence had been way, way, way before everything else in the movie.
Well, if it is based off The Hunt for Red October, it's from 1990.
Okay, thank you.
Oh my god, it's based off a fucking Tom Clancy novel. Fuck off. Oh god, Alec Baldwin was in it.
I was gonna say, Alec Baldwin was in it.
Ugh. I hate Alec Baldwin.
He's touching even the movie that he isn't in.
Ugh. We killed him off. Come on.
That line, I almost wanted to cheer in the movie theater.
Yeah, I know.
Because it's so good. If you're thinking about it as like, okay, when they're pitching this movie, when the trailers are viewing, they had to cut out the "and your God" line because they didn't want to piss off anybody in like Middle America. And then you think in the actual movie, not only does McHugh have "I'm gonna kill God," he also has the main bad guy be working closely with not just America, not just a bad guy in the American government, but the military-industrial complex. Love that shit.
It feels true to the like this idea of, remember like Mission Impossible 3 was like mostly set in America, and it pissed me off because it felt wrong and incorrect.
Yeah.
Because like this franchise is about like a more global view, and obviously they could be even more global, but there's only so many fucking movies.
Yeah.
Oh god, this shit, the fact that he also says this thing. Sorry, I just like hard pivoted into another point, but it's so important.
I will say it is counter to your theory though, because the implication here is that he's right. And so it's not another example of Gabriel lying.
That's fair. I also think that it's something like instead of him predicting the future, this is something that he knows about the past. He knows that this is what Ethan does.
I see it as
he infects people with this fucking humanity of his.
I think it is still a prediction of the future, but I think it's interesting because it's sort of like it's showing a flaw in Gabriel / the entity, which is like they can make their own truth in both a good way and a bad way, right? Like by saying that to Grace and by almost killing her, potentially he is making it so that is why she tells Ethan where it's from, right? And it's interesting because it's like they can make the truth to suit them, but they will also sometimes make the truth in ways that hurts them.
Yeah. You said Grace there, but I think you mean Paris. And like, yeah, like how much of Paris's betrayal is fueled by the fact that Gabriel just fucking stabbed her? Did you just create your own self-fulfilling prophecy, you stupid bastard? But also, I will never, ever, ever let go of the fact that Ethan just does, because he does it also with Degas and Briggs on the top of the plane. He locked eyes with Briggs. Oh god, we'll get to that.
That line was so funny to me in the movie theater, but I actually get it now because it's like
I do. Yeah. This whole scene feels so different now.
Yeah.
It's still funny. It's still fucking funny.
But it's fascinating because the other time Benji famously yells at Ethan is in Neuroganation, where Ethan is calmly trying to get Benji to save himself, and Benji's like, fuck that, I'm your friend. And this is, Ethan is losing his shit because he's like, Benji, you're setting me up with a literal impossible task. This from the guy who is ready to always set himself impossible tasks. You're setting me an impossible task. What the fuck you're doing? And Benji's like, fuck this. I'm stressed out, dude. Just do it.
Yeah. I actually, like, I fully get it. It's still funny that he says I'm under a lot of pressure as if Ethan is not, but like, also, get your shit together, okay?
Uh-huh. Because this is not Ethan's usual attitude. This is not how Ethan usually is. Ethan is usually, I can do anything, but at this point he no longer has
Literally,
that.
their first mission together was the fucking Burj Khalifa.
Uh-huh.
Like, Christ! You gotta do this, or she's gonna die too.
Mm-hmm.
TC, you're fucking cray, boy. I feel bad because this is the third best stunt in the movie to me. But it still does make me have to stop every fucking...
It's really
Jesus
good.
Christ. Ugh.
God, TC's fucking crazy.
Yep. But to be fair, his boyfriend was like, "You want to jump off a cliff? Yeah, I want to crash a train. Just a whole fucking train.
Yeah.
I want to crash it." Yeah. And then they did.
Yeah, and then they did, and it was great.
And Grace, all of a sudden, gets a vision of Sam Bankman-Fried and is like, "Oh shit, I should not get into the blockchain right now."
I do think it'll be really, really funny if in a few years this is just completely hilarious because they're, I mean, it already sort of is, but it's completely hilarious that they're like, oh yeah, I'll pay you in cryptocurrency, uh-huh.
Oh yeah, decrypting blockchain, uh-huh. Okay, Zola, you might be an idiot.
Yeah.
Just a bit. Which is not bad. We like dumb boys sometimes. I love her. LMAO, Kittredge, you still suck. Because past is prologue, and Kittredge always sucks.
Yeah.
See, if she just had Ethan's reversible jacket from Russia, she would have gotten out of this.
Because they definitely don't know what Grace looks like or anything.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Damn it, you're right. Fuck. I do love this persistent thing of Grace is so out of her element.
Yeah,
she has moments of brilliance, but most of the time she's like, I want to go home. This sucks. Yeah.
And I guess that, to me, is what I feel like does not seem to predict that she is going to be the new Ethan. Because, to me, in all of this, she's not having any fucking fun at all. This is not something that after having this adventure, I would want to do for the rest of my life if I was Grace.
God, that's a good point. Because I was about to point out, like, well, Benji was kind of lame in Ghost Pro, but, like, he was still completely in.
Yeah.
He'd fully bought in philosophically to what this meant. Grace is getting there thanks to Ilsa, but boy fucking howdy, we still got some ways to go. Why do you keep it there? You're gonna shoot your dick off. And
God, such a fucking good. It's a reverse jump scare.
Yeah. I love how he's like, oh, hey, I found you. What are the odds?
Oh, Jesus.
Of course he doesn't answer. Because no, he's not.
Yeah, I do love that. I do love that deleted scene where, like, they hug at this moment and stuff like that. And I do understand why McHugh didn't include it, because it does feel like it's sort of...
It needed to be later, yeah.
Yeah, it's a conclusion when this is not a conclusion. It's the very middle of it. But...
You can't let anyone take a breath just yet. We're not there.
Yeah. I do also love that in this case, Ethan's like, you'll figure it out. Like, you're the IMF now, you'll just figure out the impossible thing. And she doesn't.
Yeah.
Because it is actually impossible. And, like, this movie is basically finally taking that stance of, like, no, maybe there actually are impossible things.
And then he just gets by the fucking skin of his teeth.
Mm-hmm.
Now that we're coming up to it, I'd like to formally apologize for the fact that I told you that Tom Cruise does a perfect split in this movie because I misunderstood what he was doing in that one trailer, and I'm sorry.
Yeah, and you tricked me viciously into admitting that I find Tom Cruise attractive.
Yeah, because that obviously never would have happened under any other circumstances.
Definitely not. At least not in a recording.
Yeah, no, we keep that discussion. Oh, this is such a fucking nightmare fight.
Yeah.
I feel like McHugh's best fights that his team does are in broad daylight or in very well lit areas. Like the fight scene in the what
apparently
the fuck?
Shea Whigham made that up.
Yes, Shea Whigham did that on the day. Fucking amazing. Tarzan's fucking look of what the fuck are you doing? That is the director of the CIA.
It is also interesting to me that Gabriel is clearly a knives kind of guy. Like, that's his weapon of choice. And it is interesting to me given the fact that we've talked before about how Ethan is not fundamentally a guns blazing type of hero. It's interesting that, like, Ethan has always worked on the premise that you bring a knife to a gunfight, but now actually we're realizing, no, Ethan is you bring your fists to a knife fight, and then you're fucked.
I haven't actually done the whole analysis of his, like, fighting style in this movie, and I'm gonna end up doing it, because I'm a freak.
Yeah.
I just need to get to a point where I'm not distracted by the beautiful themes and character writing, so I could think about, bodies and movement.
Yeah. It's also true that you might not study it quite as in depth, considering we don't have to write about
it. That's not true.
I said might.
I'll still study. I'm still gonna be that person. It is still just more mental footage for me to refer to later. It's all research, baby. I do want to, like, rewatch and analyze it, because one of the recurring things about knife fights is that when you're fighting someone with a knife rather than their fist, they're thinking about the blade, not about your body. And I'm kind of curious if Ethan actually falls into that or not.
I'm curious. Okay, I think we've talked about this before, but I want your thoughts. Is Ethan in this moment actually leaning in to try and kill Gabriel, or is he just doing it as a cover to get the key?
At some point, his hand... I mean, it would work with his arc in this movie of the simmering anger if it was genuine.
I mean, because I assumed this was the moment where he gets the key from him. But
this is the only moment.
It's the only moment, but it's also the only moment of pickpocketing or pocketing that is not actually shown by the camera.
Oh, but, like, goes back to the thing of, like, when you're fighting someone with a knife, they're thinking about the blade, not your body. He had a blade to Gabriel's neck. It is the one moment where he could completely divert his attention and would theoretically be able to get to do the pickpocket.
Right.
But there is that lingering moment right there. Oh, God, Jesus Christ. There is that, he stares after Gabriel for such a long moment that, I'm not actually sure.
Yeah.
The guy who saved Solomon Lane and kept him alive twice. Oh god, here we go. Fucking working his superpower on these people. It's Ethan Hunt. His superpower is getting people to play on his side.
You know what I just realized? In this moment where Gabriel sets the charges before checking if he has the key, it's actually only because of Ethan that he survives at all. Like, he would have just fucked them. Because he would have just lost the key on a train that was about to explode.
Well, do you think Gabriel is motivated to get the key, or is he just wanting to keep it away from people?
That's a good question. I guess not. I guess he just wants it. He wants it gone. Although I guess it depends if it is actually in some way important to have that key to control the entity.
Yeah. I love them so much. That wink. God. Everybody in this movie is good. Everybody in this movie is good at their job. Mm-hmm. I think Shea Whigham might have the most character per second of screen time, though. That motherfucker crams in so much, and it's amazing.
I think you have to do your Degas watch first before you can decide whether Shea Whigham is better than Tarzan in terms of character per second.
Mm-hmm. You're right. It's just hard to do multiple watches of this one because Mr. Cruz, it is 2 hours and 34 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh god, yeah. Now we're to this fucking. I want to actually time this. So we are now at 2:23 in the movie. Oh my god. But like, we always talked about like how you kind of have to do like a intermission before the final act of Fallout because it's so fucking tense that it's kind of like just an extended heart attack.
Yeah.
And then McHugh does this, and I think he made something even worse. This is so much worse.
Yeah.
I'm so happy he got to crash a train.
I'm also really happy he got to crash a train. I am also... So, what we heard from the commentary was that they did a huge amount of previs work on this. Like, a huge amount, which makes sense. I also just think it is incredible in the sense that, like, they were foreshadowing this as Grace was running down the train, and now you get to see it all in reverse, and every single moment is the most tense moment, and yet every single moment is more tense than the last moment. You know what I mean? Like, it's impossibly tense.
Somebody did say that this is the most Looney Tunes ass sequence in the series, and they are also correct.
Yeah.
This is my I've worked for a caterer in the past. This is my absolute fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
That's the dishwasher. Oh, Jesus.
She's literally on fire.
How the fuck did they... I need to know.
Well, didn't they actually have it on a rig? Like, in the studio? I thought that was what McHugh said.
They didn't explain during the commentary how the fuck they did that shot, and I just want to know how much is CGI and how much is like they figured out how to do that practically. Because I'm obsessed. I've been obsessed since the first time we got a trailer for this movie. Oh.
It is very much, that specific moment feels like...
This is real, by the way. We didn't know that until we listened to the commentary. This is fucking real.
Mm-hmm.
This is... Oh
they
my
were
god.
literally
this
suspended
so bad.
in air, holding themselves by their arms. It was really hard for TC and everybody to be literally doing this horizontally, vertically. That's fucking insane.
It's such a fucking great moment.
Yeah.
And also, I love that he pins her arms and she still does.
Yeah, and also, wasn't the moment where he's like, "Do you trust me?" and she automatically shakes her head, is actually just Haley Atwell being really scared of heights.
Yep.
Insanity.
What the fuck, McHugh?
The fact that presumably because we know McHugh, he's going to have to top this in the next one, absolutely strikes the fear of God, if there is such a thing, into me.
Right, because we went from the heart attack of the helicopter sequence in Fallout, which I really thought was the most tense I've ever been in a movie, and then I saw this movie. What the fuck do you do from here?
Yep.
It's so much. We should have known that this is completely practical, because you could see the strain. Oh my god. This is such a nightmare.
Yeah. Also, Paris must be fucking ripped if she's able to pull them up with a fucking gut wound. What the fuck?
She's so ripped. Oh, that was wow, we're only at 2:29.
So how many minutes was that? That was only like what, 4 minutes?
No, we started at 2:23.
Oh, okay.
Wow, that was 6 moments that felt like the entire final act of Fallout compressed.
Yeah, that was insane.
I really thought they were going to kill Paris here. I was so fucking shocked they didn't, and then I was so elated because that means that's a sticky note that McHugh better fucking bring back.
Also, maybe my favorite thing we got from the commentary, which I adore, is that, okay, obviously they were filming right around COVID, right? They were interrupted by COVID, and then they picked up after sort of COVID rules were sort of established.
And McHugh got contact traced.
And so he was actually directing this scene over Zoom, where he was actually back at his hotel room or wherever he was staying for the filming. And he did not see this fucking tear because he had a bad connection. He was basically watching it over Zoom, and he didn't see it until he saw the dailies. He just thought, wow, that's great, Palm, like, you did great. And then he realized when he saw the dailies, like, holy shit, this is incredible.
Yeah. God, she just brought so much to this movie.
Yeah.
How are you gonna find a fucking... I'm actually very interested. How the fuck are you gonna find a fucking submarine, Ethan?
Yeah.
How are you pulling this shit off?
Especially with, like, presumably very limited technology.
Maybe that's the reason for the time skip between the movies. It's just like he and Benji have just been just looking for a fucking ship.
Also, I found it interesting that they didn't talk about this at all in the commentary, because I assumed they would talk about this. In the special features, it seemed like the speed flying was going to be so much more of a thing.
Anybody who is listening to this, if you have not already, go to YouTube and watch the speed flying short. Mm-hmm. You have to. It is absolutely terrifying.
And yet you don't see it fully here, and I don't know whether, like,
I think it was just time.
I think it was, yeah, maybe it was time filming, maybe it was time editing, I don't know, but I think it's just like they could not do the proper justice to the speed wing until they were making the short, basically.
Yeah. So TC just got to learn how to speed wing and fly around and have fun, and it didn't even wind up in the movie.
The other possibility is that actually the very few scenes we see of the Speedwing were actually incredibly technically difficult to do, and they just could not make it look as great for the movie as it. They can't make it look, yeah.
Yeah, because they had that fucking incredible harness, because he had to fly with someone, and the other person was flying basically like with almost like a hula hoop of cameras. Mm-hmm. That they would bend them as they flew, and it was just so much.
Yeah.
Welcome to the IMF, baby.
And I know everybody has talked about this, but we have to mention it. It is fucking terrifying that this voiceover has all of these dire fucking predictions coming out right so that it's cut so that right when you see Benji, it's very menacing, especially considering we do know that in Fallout they specifically cut all of the Walker related dialogue so that they would show Henry Cavill on those moments where they were saying something coy about how Walker was the bad guy. So I'm terrified about that too.
I don't know. I think if Benji fucking survived this movie, there's no way. Either both of them are gonna die or neither of them. I actually don't think McHugh is mean enough to kill off Benji and leave Ethan alive. I think that's actually a bridge too far, but hey, maybe he'll prove me wrong. I know. I'm happy to cry in the theater. I'm
wondering how much of that is even subconsciously influenced by shiver goggles.
No, I genuinely don't, because like I'm also one of the people who's like, if he does get killed off, I will be happy about it, because I bet it's gonna have a fucking great payoff. I'm excited for it. And like what I end up writing on my own, fuck it. I control what canon is when I'm writing.
Yeah.
I got no problem with that.
I wonder whether, considering part of McQuarrie's whole thing is that you're supposed to be able to come into every single movie fresh, I wonder if part of that is that he cannot have unkillable characters, because there's no movie by itself where there's an unkillable. You see what I mean? Like, Benji is not just based on one movie unkillable. It's the fact that he's been here this whole time that makes him unkillable. And I don't know whether anybody who hasn't seen all of the movies would understand. You see what I mean? I don't know.
I don't think it's gonna happen. I would be completely down for it if it did, though.
Yeah, we'll see.
God, what a fucking good movie.
It's so much. It just exhausts you every single time, but also it's a spectacle. It's just absolutely gorgeous. It's so complex, and there's so much going on, and like every scene is wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah. God, it's still my number 2. I really thought really hard if I wanted to put Hitman at number 2, but I can't.
Mm-hmm.
I can't knock this one down.
Yeah.
It's just so fucking good.
Yeah.
They made a good one.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait for McHugh to fuck me up for the next one.
God, yeah. It is interesting to me again, because one of the things they talked about a lot with Fallout was that they specifically tried to make a movie that was visually different from Rogue Nation. But I don't remember them talking about that much at all with Dead Reckoning. Whether, like, I think they have the same director of photography as they had for Fallout, right? I don't think they changed directors of photography again. So it's interesting that the McHugh has basically accepted the mantle of, like, no, Mission Impossible is mine and TC's now.
Yeah. Which I kind of like, because I really like Rogue Nation, but like there's just a technical level that Fallout and Dead Reckoning are working on that is just above and beyond. Yeah. Even if like I feel like Rogue Nation is kind of like the platonic ideal of what I want a mission movie to be, the Fallout is the masterpiece and Dead Reckoning is the runner-up for that masterpiece.
Yeah, I love it. There's no reason for me to be tired. It's only 9. There's reason for you to be tired, though.
Yeah, but I'm mostly pumped because, man, I fucking love writing. I love themes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like my action movies. I don't know why it's so difficult. I just want an action movie with very strong characters, really cool physicality, good cinematography, good locations. I want practical action, practical effects, good music, and themes. And I don't know why that's so hard for people to make.
At least 7 or 8 of those 10 things or so that you listed just now are in Monkey Man, and we have to watch it.
I know. We have such a fucking list, and to get through that list, we have to stop rewatching Hitman.
Hey,
I'm sorry.
You only rewatched it twice. I was the one who was watching it. I think I watched it like 4 times.
And now I want to watch it again because you're ahead of me. Also, this is like my I watched it 4 times in theaters. I think we together have watched this about 3 times, so this is probably number 7 or 8 for me. And I feel like this is the time that honestly I finally understand it. Like I get, like, I have the holistic view of this, and boy fucking howdy, Ethan Hunt needs fucking he needs a margarita. He needs a seat on the beach with an umbrella. And he needs everyone to fucking lose his number for a while and leave him the fuck alone. And maybe some yoga. I'm a big proponent of yoga, which is why I keep writing it into every single story. I think it helps. God, even these credits are long, which thank God.
Yeah.
All these people got paid.
Yeah.
Oh God, helicopter coordinator. That person's important.
Yeah. Although less important here than the same role in Fallout would have been.
Oh look, we're crediting our digital artists. Unlike, I'm not gonna do it. I fucking hate Oppenheimer. I hate that fucking movie. I don't get it.
Here for the hot takes about completely different movies.
Yeah. Wait, let's have that be I'm going to very quickly, at the end of this, list what is currently my ranking for the year.
Okay, do it.
So that people can judge me and go, oh shit, we shouldn't take this person's opinion seriously at all. So, I gotta find it. It's a hidden list on Letterboxd.
Why is it hidden? Why don't you show it proudly?
Because I'm scared. Okay, I'm gonna do this quick. All right, in order from most enjoyed to least enjoyed. Asteroid City, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, The Grand Budapest Hotel, Edge of Tomorrow, Mission Impossible Fallout, Collateral, Hitman, Gross Point Blank. I really love Assassins. Aliens, Dune, In the Heat of the Night, Dune Part 2, The Darjeeling Limited, Knives Out, Spy, Glass Onion, Willy Wonka and Chocolate Factory, the fucking original, obviously. Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves, A Few Good Men, except for that one stupid fucking scene that I really hate. The rest of it's really good. The Thing, The Color of Money. God, that was so fucking good.
You're not very good at lightning.
Yeah, Rogue Nation, Cocaine Bear, Royal Tenenbaums, Risky Business. I should probably put that a little bit higher. Alien, the original. Hotel Artemis, Rock and Rolla, The Thin Man, My Man Godfrey, Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, Star Trek Beyond, that was the third one, which is the best one. Kong, Skull Island, shockingly good movie. The Lost City, shockingly good movie. X-Men First Class.
Oh, you better be quick. Better be quick.
Ghost Protocol, Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire, Jumanji, The Next Level, Ghostbusters, the 2016 one, Underworld, Pentagon Wars, Searching for Bobby Fischer, Enola Holmes 2, Godzilla vs. Kong, Barbie, Godzilla 2014, Godzilla King of Monsters, fucking Oppenheimer, Ghostbusters, Frozen Empire, Damsel, Wonder Woman, 1984. Boy fucking howdy, was that a bad movie.
It was a bad
movie. The Losers, yeah. Sorry Punct, and Underworld Evolution.
The Losers is the only one that I'm actually genuinely sad about.
I'm sorry. I tried so hard to like it.
No, it's okay.
It's okay. But yeah, Oppenheimer is at 48. I fucking hate that movie. We're done.
Ta-da!
God, now I have to edit this. Okay. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.